Thank you for watching our video this morning. I've had a rash of calls to the office asking how we're going to deal with our sister or brother who has taken mom or dad off to the estate planning attorney's office to get the control freak of the family appointed in charge of everything. Invariably, the person who is the first to demand control is the last person in the world that you want to have that control. They don't report back to the family. They don't seek a consensus among the family members. They manipulate the situation to their own benefit, and it happens over and over. Invariably, mom and dad knew or should have known who the control freak was in the family, and yet they let it happen. So the question becomes, what should you do about it? And the answer is twofold. First, let's talk about ahead of time. And secondly, once the problem has already occurred, let's talk about how you might deal with it. I'm going to have to turn my phone ringer off there so it won't be interrupted again. If you are thoughtful and see that this problem could occur, it's probably time to have a heart-to-heart conversation with mom and dad. Mom, you know that our sister has a nature such that she likes to take control, and she's not really good at building a consensus in the family. And mom, as time goes by, you will become less comfortable resisting her pushing you. So you need to do something now. And there are some things that your mom could do. For example, she could change the trust to require that two people have to sign off on any amendments that are at least any amendments that change who the trustees are. Now, you may not want, and she may not want to the second person to have to sign off on gifts to grandchildren and the like. Frankly, I wouldn't want anyone to have control over that. But changing trustees is something that could reasonably be agreed should require two people to make such a change. Another thing that might help is to appoint an outsider as a trustee. Um, Mom, you know, this is going to go much more smoothly if an attorney or a CPA or a trust officer is required to sign on to any changes you make to the trust. This can be problematic because we parents, including me, hate to admit that our children are less than they ought to be, less than they could be, less than perfect. This is going to require you and your mom to do some careful thought, some honest discussions, and you're going to have to be very diplomatic and yet clear. Unfortunately, the parents and the families who most need this advice are the ones least likely to take it. I'm sorry, but it's true. If your parent is more prone to being manipulated and your sister or brother is more prone to being a manipulator, the chances of you keeping them from making a mess is reduced. I'm sorry that it's true, but you know it is. That means that you have to come in after the fact and try to clean up the mess that your brother or sister, mom and dad have made. That means you're probably going to have to hire an attorney to demand an accounting by the fiduciary. A fiduciary is someone like a trustee or power of attorney who's taking care of mom or dad or brother or sister. You may have to ask the court for a judgment against your own sibling for money they can't account for. We've got a case right now where, for month after month after month, a sister of the caller has gone to the bank, cashed checks for hundreds of dollars in her own name, and there's no accounting for what she did with the money. The family is hurt. It's destroying the relationships, and it should have been avoided, but it wasn't. And now we're stuck with cleaning up the mess. And the client is going to have to bring thousands of dollars to the law office just to get started on the cleanup. And frankly, they're probably going to get more bills than the thousands they start with. I tell you this not to discourage you from cleaning up after the family makes a mess, but to tell you that it's pretty important to do your mitigation ahead of time, reduce the chances of having to do a cleanup. If you have trust and estate questions, please keep us in mind. We'd love to help you. Hopefully you won't be cleaning up after mom and sister, but if you have to, we're there for that as well. We'd much rather eliminate the problem in advance, but we'll also help do cleanup work if that's called for. Have a wonderful day.